Hello, this is Sierra and welcome to another video. Today we're doing another chapter 32 of Hermitcraft Mayhem. Sorry if I don't quite sound like myself. We ran out of pre-recorded videos because I went out on vacation and I didn't record enough and I got a cold. And I'm at the tail end of the cold. I'm not going to push it too much today. I'm going to just record one video today. If I feel up for it tomorrow, record one video tomorrow. Just gonna go with the flow. Just go with the flow. But today we're reading chapter 32, enjoying the ride, and seeing where it goes from there. And we're in Dream World, trying to find our friends. Alright? Let's do this. Bdubs sat cross-legged on the picnic blanket, surrounded by trees and lilies. The starry night sky was bright. Beside him sat Scar, the hermit calmly looking up into the sky. It was peaceful, perfect. No sign of any nightmarish shadows, eager to drag them into a terrible dream. Green should be here soon, Scar said simply. I don't know about that, Bdubs chuckled. He hasn't stopped looking at the communicator since I showed him how to track people. He can't stay awake forever, Scar mused. Can't he? Bdubs raised an eyebrow. Scar only shook his head. I get what you mean. We shouldn't let each other be alone out here. Skis is out there. Scar gestured to the trees, trying to regain pulse again. We'll know if there's trouble, right? I'd hope so, Scar replied. He's not too far now, if he needs it. You're pretty good at finding people here, Bdubs pointed out. I've been here a lot recently. Scar sighed. Our enemies like to condemn me to weeks of bed rest at a time. Anything you've noticed while we're here? While you were here? Bdubs asked curiously. Other than being tormented endlessly by a ghost? Scar raised an eyebrow. Gerald didn't give me many chances to explore around here. Do you want to? Scar glanced back at the sky above, his expression unchanging as he sighed. Couldn't hurt, right? I don't see why it would. Maybe we'll find something cool out here, Bdubs said cheerfully, getting to his feet. I've always wanted to see what's out here. I can show you a few cool places if you like. Scar's eyes brightened. That would be nice. Bdubs offered his friend a hand, which Scar took. When Scar got to his feet, the two of them began walking toward the tree line. Away from the picnic blanket, away from the flowers, away from safety. Excuse me. That's where I first found Impulse after he lost gifts, Scar stated, pointing to a worn path that led down to the cliffside. That must have been hard. Yeah, but I could tell he felt better knowing I was okay. Although I didn't know about how serious Gerald's experiment on me was at the time. Bdubs nodded. Guess you knew he was back as soon as the nightmares stopped happening. Maybe they still happen, Scar admitted. They aren't as intense, though. That's to be expected for all of us, Bdubs said. Matter of fact, like, Scar nodded. Yeah. Unfortunately, the two of them crossed the threshold, the clearing behind them quickly vanishing from view. There were no torches in sight, but then again, typically no mobs would spawn here. How had Gerald managed to make that happen? Bdubs didn't doubt he'd done it to slow the others down from getting to Scar that time, but How had? He done it. I can hear you, you know, Scar mused. Bdubs chuckled. Sorry. Why? It's not a crime to be curious, Scar said simply. If we can better understand how this world works and what we're capable of here. An explosion ripped through Bdubs' mind, nearly knocking him off his feet. Scar gasped beside him, grabbing onto the closest tree for support. What was that? Bdubs asked, the boom of the blast echoing in his ears. Where had that come from? Was Giz in trouble? Or was Green having one of his old nightmares again? There was a flying helicopter hovering just over the fortress wall. Scar winced, grimacing in pain as he pushed away the tree. Half the patrol is seriously hurt. How can you tell? Scar touched his temple, then pointed at the sky. Bdubs looked up and gulped. A streak of angry red tore through the sky, entwined with orange and yellow, like a ball of flame. Bdubs reached out his mental hand toward it, pulling back as he felt a sharp pain pierce his mind. His friends were hurt. They were outnumbered. We need to wake up, Bdubs said grimly. Scar nodded, just as he disappeared from sight. Bdubs blinked, but when he opened his eyes again, he was no longer in the dream world. He was staring up at the ceiling of the sleepover room. Help! A muffled cry came from the hallway, followed by a scream as something shattered beyond the closed door. Bdubs sat up quickly, spotting Skiz practically pouncing out of bed and yanking open the door. We've got company, Skiz shouted over his shoulder before charging into the hallway and lunging at something. Bdubs scrambled out of bed quickly as the interns and young protectors began to stir. Haley was already starting to shake some of them awake. We need to get Franklin out of here, Haley said quickly, catching Bdubs, watching her. Bdubs nodded, hopping out of bed as he went to where the young boy was sleeping. He gently shook the boy's shoulder, trying not to think about the clash of metal on metal. A door slamming opened as more running feet filled the hall. You could hear Skiz's yell, a few more screams from Green, and shouts from attackers. Franklin opened his eyes as a few minutes later. Blech. Is it morning already? The base is under attack, Bdubs said simply. Franklin's face paled as he sat up in bed. Not again. We're not going to let them hurt you, Caleb said calmly, helping Scar slide into his wheelchair. No one gets left behind. Franklin nodded, taking in the new people looking at him. Bdubs jumped as glass shattered again, followed by a gasp from Haley. Bdubs whirled around, his heart skipping a beat, as he recognized the man on the other side. Robert Sharp. The man was holding a sword in hand as he stepped into the room. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Robert warned as Kate grabbed for the sword, leaning against the wall by her nightstand. The man pulled something out of his pocket with the other hand. I'm not going to let a bunch of amateur children stop me from completing my mission. And what mission is that? Haley asked, strangely calm. Even if you use your link. Excuse me, I skipped a line. There's no way you can call for help, Robert said calmly. Even if you use your link, your friends can't reach you in time. The man smiled. Now, why don't you be good children and YouTubers and just stay still for a second? Yeah, like I'm going to do that, Bdubs said blandly, stepping out into the center of the room. Help potion's not going to reach all of us. Besides, We have our force field, which doesn't work. Oh, don't be so sure of that. Scars chuckled from behind. Bdubs as a golden dome surrounded the group. He noticed Kate grab her sword, and Isaac grabbing a nearby blaster. Bdubs reached for his sword hilt, ready to pull it out if need be. Clever, Robert said, seeming more amused than frustrated. So you figured out our trick. Is that right, Bdubs? Tricks mean nothing if they can be worked around, Bdubs said. And do you think your doctor friend is going to come and save you? Just think about how the null might affect the portable portals. Bdubs frowned, glancing over at Scar, shrugged. Robert snorted. Of course you didn't. Why would you? We made the portal technology. We knew how to turn it off and keep it off, if need be. No amount of your creeper friends' wizardry can combat the fact that we made it. There are other ways, Bdubs said. Robert shook his head. It won't matter. Conover will get what he wants. Don't you mean Gerald? Kate snapped. Why does he want Grian anyway? Why is he torturing Impulse? Bdubs' blood ran cold as he glanced back over at Scar. He hadn't heard Grian in the last few minutes. In fact, the sound of fighting seemed to be dying down. I don't sense any feelings of pain or fear, Scar said simply, attempting to reassure Bdubs. It did. Slightly. Robert laughed, breaking the silence. That's for him to know and for you to find out. If you ever do, that is. Bdubs took a step forward. You do realize you're horribly outnumbered here. And do you realize how many men Conover has at his disposal? Robert sneered, yelping as it surprises someone pushed him aside. Dropping the potion at their feet. Franklin, are you okay? Let him go, you monsters! Campbell challenged before he hesitated. What's that smell? Sleeping potion, you fool! You just splashed us both with sleeping potion! Robert snapped, coughing as he took a step back. A chuckle came from the hallway as another figure appeared in the hallway next to him. Whatever. You should know better than to assume you have the high ground, Kyle teased. It takes only one overprotective father to take you down. You! Robert screamed as Kyle lunged at him, plunging an iron dagger into his gut. Thank you, Kyle, Campbell mumbled, his eyes starting to droop. Any time, boss. Kyle smirked, standing up as Robert vanished into nothingness. He smiled as he looked at the others. They too enjoyed demolishing clones, after all. We can just get more. What are you doing here? Scar demanded. Oh, I'm just here to help this sleepyhead rescue his son from your clutches. I'm not a prisoner here, Franklin said simply. I'm sure they told you that. But have you ever tried to leave the base since you got here? Kyle sneered. Campbell was now slumped against the doorframe, drifting in and out of consciousness. It's not safe out there, Franklin replied. Scott said to stay close to the base until someone came to get me. You were here to get you, Kyle said, spreading his arms wide. He was still holding the now bloody iron dagger. To take you home? And where is home? I'd hope it's not anywhere near Gerald. Haley narrowed her eyes. That's none of your concern, Campbell mumbled, his voice very coherent. He's my son. And Rose entrusted us to keep him safe, Haley said, matter-of-factly. He did? Frank gasped. She did? Frank gasped, looking over at her with surprise. He will be safe under our care, Kyle said simply, tightening his grip on his dagger. I'm not sure I believe that, Haley retorted, seeing how easily he wandered out of the base. Kyle smiled, twirling his dagger in the air in tiny circles. He almost seemed bored. What do you think of this, boss? Give me my son or I'll... Campbell slumped against the door before sliding to the floor, unconscious. Looks like my work is done here, Kyle shrugged, stowing away the dagger. It's yours now, I suppose. I don't need him. We don't need him. What? So you're just gonna walk away and leave him here? Scar cocked. He's a convicted criminal. The only place he can safely go is prison. Gerald may leave him alone there then, but although I can't promise that for the boy. Stay away from him, Haley warned, standing firm beside Franklin. Oh, I have no interest in the boy. Gerald just wanted me to get Campbell out of his hair. Kyle smirked. Now, we can get back to what really matters, rather than focusing on dead children. I'm not dead. Franklin lifted his chin. You will be once Gerald is done with his new toy. Kyle sneered before dashing down the hallway. Bdubs ran after him, passing through the force field and into the hall, stepping over Campbell as he did so. Fireworks exploded as he spotted Kyle launching up into the sky. Bdubs rushing to the door in time to see two figures flying high above the trees, heading east. Scream filled his ears as he snapped his head toward the sound. His eyes grew wide as Kate knelt next to her mother, Lyra Kimberly. The woman's eyes were closed, but her hair was damp. Someone had struck her over the head. Where's Korean? Scar asked, rolling up to Bdubs. Bdubs' throat tightened as Kyle's last words reverberated in his mind. Gerald had a new toy to play with now. Bdubs was almost certain that it wasn't Impulse. And that is going to be the end of that episode. I hope you guys enjoyed, and, chapter 32, and I will give you a sneak peek as to who the POV for, well, I guess you can figure out who the next perspective is. It's going to be a little dark. Impulse's POV. We're going to see that. It's going to be a little dark. Not as dark as it was originally. I had to rewrite it a little bit so it wasn't as dark. But, yeah. We're getting closer and closer to the end. Yeah. And then we're going to see where we're going to go from there. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one, whenever that might be. Goodbye.